They handed me the invitation on embossed cardstock. Black tie, Investor Gala, 200 guests. I flipped it over. Someone had drawn a thick black line through the +1 box and written 2 words in red ink, no guest. My sister? She had an entire table reserved. 8 seats. Her fiancé, her college friends, even her yoga instructor. I got 1 chair. In the back. Near the kitchen doors. Here's what they didn't know. The man signing the check that night, the one funding their $2.1 million expansion, was supposed to be my +1. Because I'm the one who brought him to the table in the first place, and I had 6 months of emails to prove it. Stick around. This gets good. Real quick. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Drop it in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to see how this ends. Let me rewind. You need to understand how deep this goes. I spent 10 years in corporate development, mergers, acquisitions, investor relations. I knew how to build a pitch deck, how to cold email a managing partner, how to sit across from someone with $50 million in dry powder and make them believe in your story. Then my mom had a stroke. I moved home. The family business, a mid-sized manufacturing outfit, was bleeding cash and losing contracts. My sister held the title, Chief Operating Officer. She looked the part, gave great keynotes, smiled for the trade magazines. But someone had to actually fix the business. I rebuilt the supply chain. I handled compliance. I stayed up until 2 in the morning reconciling P&L statements that hadn't been touched in 3 years. And I started networking. Quietly. I went to finance mixers, CFO summits, private equity panels. I made a list of contacts. People who invested in exactly our kind of turnaround story. My sister never asked how I spent my evenings. She was too busy being introduced as the executive. I was the helper, the one who moved home when things got hard. At board meetings, she presented my slides with her name in the footer. I told myself it didn't matter. That quiet competence would be rewarded eventually. But here's the thing about me. I save everything. Every email, every introduction, every term sheet, every deck, every signed NDA. I learned that in my first M&A job. Documentation isn't paranoia. It's proof. And I had a folder on my desktop labeled Expansion 2024. 43 documents. And counting. 3 weeks before the gala, my sister called me into the conference room. She slid the invitation across the table. I need to talk to you about the seating chart. I picked it up. That's when I saw it. The red ink. Why does mine say no guest? She didn't even look up from her phone. It's an investor-facing event. Optics matter. I need every seat to count. I was going to bring someone from Cascade Partners, a colleague. Her head snapped up. Cascade? You mean Marcus? Yeah, I thought it would be... Absolutely not. She stood up, smoothed her blazer. This isn't a networking event for you. I'll handle Marcus. You just show up and smile. I felt my jaw tighten. I'm the one who introduced you to him. And I'm the one who's been nurturing that relationship for 18 months. He doesn't need to see you trying to take credit in front of the board. Take credit. The words just hung there. Stay in your lane, she added. We can't have randos diluting the room. I didn't say anything. She picked up her phone again. Swipe, swipe. Oh, and wear something subdued tomorrow night. We don't need you standing out. The door closed behind her. I sat there for 5 minutes, staring at that red ink. Marcus, the man I'd introduced her to, the man whose texts were still in my phone. I called my old mentor that night, vented for 20 minutes. She listened. Then she said, You know you can just walk away, right? This isn't worth your health. Maybe she was right. But the next morning I tried anyway. I drafted an email to Marcus. Casual, professional. Hey, looking forward to seeing you at the gala. Would love to catch up beforehand if you have time. I was about to hit send, then I saw it. An email in my inbox, sent an hour earlier, from my sister to Marcus. Subject line, team alignment before Thursday. I opened it. She'd positioned herself as the sole point of contact. Asked him to route all communication through her to avoid mixed signals with the board. She'd CC'd the entire board, including our mom. I refreshed my inbox twice. No reply from Marcus yet. But the damage was already done. I closed my laptop. I thought about skipping the gala altogether. Just calling in sick. Let her have her night. That evening, I was cleaning out old voicemails. I found one from my mom, 2 years old, right after the stroke. Her voice was shaky but clear. "You've always been the glue, sweetheart. Don't forget that." I played it 3 times. Then I opened my archive. I went into the folder, scrolled back 18 months. There it was. Subject line, Cascade Partners, intro and deck, from me. 2. Marcus Ewan. Date, March 14th, 2023. I'd met him at a CFO summit in Denver. We talked for maybe 20 minutes about supply chain resilience and reshoring trends. I sent a follow-up email that night. Attached a pitch deck I'd built myself, tailored specifically to Cascade's thesis. His reply came the next morning. "Thanks for the intro. Really impressed by your analysis of the market gap. Let's schedule a call." Your analysis. Not your company's. Not your sister's. Your. My sister's name didn't appear anywhere in that thread. 2 weeks later, I looped her in. That email was still there too. Subject, looping in leadership. I forwarded Marcus's response to her and our CFO. Gave her the context. Set up the first call. She took it from there. And over the next 18 months, I watched her slowly edit me out of the story. But the emails didn't lie. The timestamps didn't lie. I had the original outreach. The deck. The first call summary. I saved it all to a separate drive. Backed it up twice? That was receipt number 1. I had 4 more. 2 days before the gala, my sister found out I'd been asking questions. I don't know who told her. Maybe someone on the board. Maybe the CFO. She sent me a Slack message at 11 p.m. Stop creating confusion. If you can't be a team player, we'll reassess your role post-gala. Reassess your role. That's corporate speak for "you're fired." The next morning, I got a PDF by accident. Our admin assistant was supposed to send the final investor deck to the printer. She CC'd the wrong list. I opened it. Flipped to the leadership page. My bio was gone. Completely scrubbed. My sister's section had been expanded. Now it included a bullet point: strategic partnerships and investor relations. My work, my network, my 18 months of calls and emails, rebranded under her name. And here's the kicker. If the deal closed, her equity package vested immediately. $500,000 in stock. Me? I stayed salaried. No upside, no equity, no bonus. I looked at the timeline. 72 hours until the gala. 72 hours until she stood in front of 200 people and took credit for a deal I built from scratch. I had a decision to make. Fade into the background and let her win. Or do the one thing she'd never see coming. I opened my laptop. And I started writing an email. Before I sent anything, I needed to be sure. I went back into the archive. Dug deeper. Found the folder labeled Cascade Due Diligence. Inside was the NDA we'd signed at the start of the formal process. I opened it. Scrolled to the signature block. There it was. Engagement lead, my name. Not hers, but it got better. Attached to the NDA was an exhibit, Exhibit C, Relationship Attribution and Goodwill Credit. Astam. It listed every introduction I'd made on behalf of the company. Not just Marcus. 3 other PE firms. 2 venture groups. A family office in Boston. All facilitated by me. And then, at the bottom, a single line. All introductions facilitated by the above-named party. Goodwill credit assigned accordingly. The above-named party. Me. It was notarized. Filed with our outside counsel. Signed by Marcus and countersigned by me. If this deal closed, the credit didn't just morally belong to me. It contractually belonged to me. My sister hadn't just erased me from a slide deck. She'd tried to erase me from a legal document. I took a screenshot, saved it, backed it up. Then I went back to that email, and I hit send. I should have sent that email weeks ago, but part of me didn't understand why she was doing this. We used to be close. Not best friends, but sisters. We talked. What changed? The answer came 20 minutes after I hit send. I was cleaning up files on the shared drive. Old contracts. Budget sheets. That's when I saw it. A folder I didn't recognize. Labeled SBA Personal. I opened it. Inside was a loan agreement. Private lender. Not a bank. Principal amount, $340,000. Collateral, her unvested equity in the company. Maturity date, 60 days after the gala. I read it twice. She owed $340,000 to someone charging 9% interest. If the Cascade deal didn't close, her equity didn't vest. If her equity didn't vest, she had no collateral. If she had no collateral, she defaulted. This wasn't about pride. It wasn't about sibling rivalry. She was drowning, and I was the life raft she had to push under to save herself. I sat back. For the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt sad. But I also knew exactly what I had to do. The email I'd sent was simple. 3 sentences. Subject, clarification before tomorrow night. Marcus, I want you to have full context before the gala. I've been the relationship lead from day one, as the attached documents show. May I bring you as my guest tomorrow evening? I think we should talk. I attached 2 files. The original intro email, the NDA with Exhibit C. Then I waited. 4 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Marcus. I'd be honored. Let's compare notes beforehand. 4 p.m. tomorrow? My hotel suite? I read it twice. Then I replied, see you at 4. I didn't tell my sister. I didn't tell the board. I didn't ask for permission or approval. I just sent the email and booked the meeting. That night I picked out my dress. Not subdued, not quiet. The red one. The one I wore when I closed my first acquisition back in Denver. I had my hair done. Got my nails done. I wasn't sneaking in through the kitchen entrance. I was walking in the front door, with the man writing the check on my arm. The gala was 18 hours away, and I had the nuclear option in my clutch. The meeting with Marcus lasted 90 minutes. I walked him through everything. The timeline, the emails, the NDA. He didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he leaned back and said, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I thought it didn't matter. I thought the work would speak for itself. He shook his head. It does, and it will. That night, I met him in the lobby at 7. He offered his arm. I took it. We walked into the gala together. The room went silent. I saw my sister across the floor. Her face went white. She started toward us, but the board chair intercepted her. Shook Marcus's hand. Thanked him for coming. Then he looked at me. And you brought our secret weapon. My sister's smile was frozen. Halfway through cocktail hour, the board chair called for remarks. Marcus stood. He thanked the family. Praised the turnaround. Talked about the growth potential. Then he paused. But before we go any further, I need to publicly recognize someone. He turned. Pointed at me. The architect of this partnership. The room shifted. 18 months ago, I received a cold email from this woman. She'd done her homework. Sent me a pitch deck that understood our thesis better than most venture partners I work with. He gestured to the screen behind him. Our AV guy, bless him, put up the email. The original one. March 14th, 2023. From me to Marcus. Subject line in bold. My sister tried to say something. The board chair held up a hand. Marcus continued. We've spent 1.5 years in diligence. Every call, every model, every hard question. She was on point. He pulled a document from his jacket. The NDA. This is the engagement agreement. Relationship attribution is contractual. She's listed as the lead. He looked directly at my sister. That's who Cascade Partners works with. That's who we trust. One of the board members stood up. Pulled out his phone. Started comparing notes. My sister's VP of operations leaned over. Whispered loud enough for me to hear. You told us you brought him in. Marcus raised his hand. The room quieted. We're postponing signature until governance is clarified. Integrity matters more than speed. He turned to me. We'll reconvene next week? With her at the table. The room erupted in whispers. My sister walked out. I stayed until the end. The board convened an emergency session the next morning. My sister was placed on administrative leave pending an independent review. It took 2 weeks. The findings were clear. She'd misrepresented her role in multiple investor communications. She'd altered board materials without disclosure. And she'd created a governance risk that nearly tanked a major deal. They didn't fire her, but they restructured everything. I was named VP of Strategic Growth. With equity, her package was frozen until the audit was complete. 4 months later, Marcus and Cascade closed the deal. $2.1 million. Slightly lower valuation than the original term sheet. They cited governance risk. But the partnership was solid. My equity vested. Hers eventually did too. But by then, she'd already made her decision. She sold her non-equity assets, paid off the loan, and took a regional sales role with a partner company. Her choice. To avoid termination and save her reputation. We don't talk much now, but we're civil. No lawsuits, no public scandal, just boundaries. The family started therapy. My mom insisted. It's slow, but it's something. I used my first equity payout to do something I'd been thinking about for years. I endowed a scholarship for first-generation professionals in manufacturing. We named it after my mom. There's a plaque in the office now. Her name, the fund details. A ribbon-cutting photo with Marcus and the board. She cried when she saw it. I didn't do this for revenge. I didn't bring Marcus to that gala to destroy my sister. I brought him because I earned my seat at that table. And sometimes the only way to be seen is to stand exactly where you belong. Your receipts aren't weapons. They're boundaries. Keep them. Organize them. Share them when it counts. And let the truth do the work. One last thing. Everything I've shared here is a fictionalized dramatization for storytelling purposes. This is not legal or financial advice. If you're in a similar situation, talk to a licensed professional in your area. Now tell me, have you ever been erased from your own work? What did you do about it? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if this felt familiar, if you've ever had to fight to be seen, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more where this came from. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.